It is a peculiar thing, this resistance. It does not argue with reason, nor does it present itself in an honest battle of words and ideas. Instead, it comes in the form of whispers behind your back, unwarranted criticisms, or the silent, seething resentment of those who cannot quite explain why they dislike you. This reaction is not about you personally. It is about what you stand for. When a candle is lit in a dark room, the insects and the shadows do not debate its existence. They simply react. Some are drawn to it. Some attempt to extinguish it, but none can ignore it. Those who carry within them unresolved bitterness, jealousy, or unacknowledged guilt will often see, in the presence of truth, a mirror reflecting their own condition. And rather than face it, they lash out. Not always in obvious ways. Some will disguise their attacks as concern, as unsolicited advice, as clever sarcasm wrapped in a thin veil of humor. Others will take the more direct route, opposing you at every turn, attempting to soil your name, to twist your words, to question your intentions. What is to be done about this? Shall you argue with them? Shall you defend yourself tirelessly? No, that is their trap. Darkness thrives on reaction. It seeks to pull you into its game, to make you exchange your peace for its chaos. Instead, remain unmoved. Speak when wisdom compels you, but do not waste words where they will fall upon deaf ears. Hold to your path, knowing that opposition is not a sign of your failure, but of your effectiveness. Those who are truly of the light need not announce it. Their very presence unsettles the darkness, and that, in itself, is the greatest battle won. The moment you decide to walk in truth, something shifts. Not just within you, but in the very world around you. You begin to notice a strange phenomenon. Certain people, sometimes even those you once considered close, start to resist you. They become uneasy in your presence, quick to dismiss your words, or even outright hostile toward you. And yet, when you search for a reason, you find none. You have not wronged them. You have not spoken ill of them. And yet their demeanor changes. This is because the spiritual realm is not passive. The moment light appears, darkness is disturbed. And while we often expect resistance from the openly wicked, what surprises many is that opposition frequently comes from the seemingly ordinary, from those who claim no allegiance to either good or evil. Yet within them, there are forces at work, forces that cannot remain neutral in the presence of truth. These forces do not attack in ways that are always obvious. Sometimes they manifest as passive aggression, as sudden indifference, or as an attempt to undermine you subtly. Other times, the reaction is more direct mockery, slander, or open conflict. This opposition is not merely social or psychological, it is spiritual. There are unseen forces that despise righteousness, not because it threatens them physically, but because it exposes them. Darkness thrives in secrecy, in the unexamined life, in the avoidance of truth. The presence of a chosen one disrupts this. When you walk into a room, you do not just bring yourself, you bring clarity, and with clarity comes discomfort for those who have spent their lives avoiding it. People who have unresolved inner battles are often unaware of how deeply they have aligned themselves with the very things they claim to despise. When faced with someone who embodies truth, their souls react before their minds do. They feel irritated, provoked, and unsettled, though they may not be able to explain why. This is because spiritual opposition does not always operate through logical reasoning. It operates through instinctual aversion. You are not just challenging their outward behavior. You are challenging the unseen forces that have taken residence within them. This is why the more you grow spiritually, the more resistance you face. It is not because you are wrong, nor because you are arrogant, but because light will always provoke a response. Some will be drawn to it, yearning for what it represents. Others will fight against it, fearing what it exposes within them. The latter will often seek to disguise their discomfort in justifiable terms. They will tell themselves that you are the problem, that you are too intense, too idealistic, too judgmental. They will paint you as difficult or self-righteous, not because you are, but because they must find a way to justify their resistance. This is why you must understand that spiritual opposition is inevitable. It is not a sign of failure, but of progress. The more aligned you are with truth, the more evident the reactions will become. This is the nature of the battle. You are not merely encountering people, you are encountering the forces that influence them, and these forces are not content to leave you in peace. Understanding this changes everything. It shifts your focus from taking things personally to recognizing them for what they truly are: spiritual resistance. You begin to see that people are not always aware of what they are doing. Some will lash out at you without even understanding why. They are, in a sense, reacting on behalf of the very forces that despise the light within you. Recognizing this also means you must prepare yourself. The world does not celebrate those who stand firm in truth. It celebrates compromise, ease, and conformity. It rewards those who blend in, who do not disturb the status quo. But a chosen one does not blend in. By nature, they disrupt, not because they seek to, but because truth is disruptive to those who are unprepared to receive it. There will be moments when this opposition feels overwhelming. You will question yourself, wonder if it is worth it, and even consider whether you should simply dim your light to make life easier. But you must resist that temptation. The discomfort you bring is not without purpose. It forces others to confront what they would rather ignore. Some will hate you for it, but others will be transformed because of it. Either way, your presence demands a reaction. The path of truth is not one of ease, nor is it one of universal acceptance. It is a road marked by resistance, but that resistance is a sign that you are walking in the right direction. Darkness does not fight what does not threaten it. The attacks, the opposition, and the rejection are not meant to break you, but to affirm you. You are not merely encountering difficulty, you are disrupting the very forces that seek to keep the world in blindness. And for that, you will always be opposed. There comes a moment in the life of every chosen one when they begin to notice a peculiar pattern. Certain individuals, sometimes even those they have been kind to, respond to them with an unexplainable hostility. It is not the kind of opposition that stems from wrongdoing or from misunderstandings that can be resolved through dialogue. Rather, it is an irrational resistance, an unspoken resentment that lingers in the air without justification. This hostility is often subtle at first. a sudden coldness in conversations, a reluctance to engage, an avoidance that seems to have no logical root. You search for an explanation, wondering if you have said or done something to offend, but nothing comes to mind. Then, as time passes, the opposition becomes clearer sarcastic remarks disguised as humor, passive-aggressive behavior, or outright dismissal of your presence and ideas. One of the most disorienting aspects of this reaction is that it often comes from people who, on the surface, appear friendly, even well-meaning. They do not always attack openly, nor do they always realize the depth of their own hostility. Yet, their words and actions reveal a silent war being waged beneath the surface. It is a war not of logic, but of spirit. People who live in comfort with deception, mediocrity, or moral compromise often experience an unspoken agitation when confronted with someone who embodies truth. They do not always recognize it consciously, but something within them resists what you represent. This resistance has little to do with your personality and everything to do with the light that emanates from within you. The chosen one does not seek conflict, yet they find themselves at the center of it. This is because their very existence challenges the comfort of complacency. Without speaking a word, their presence alone exposes the hidden motives, unhealed wounds, and quiet justifications that others have spent years avoiding. It is not a matter of superiority or self-righteousness. It is simply the nature of light. Darkness cannot remain unbothered in its presence. This is why some will suddenly find reasons to dislike you, though they cannot explain why. They will create narratives in their minds to justify their discomfort, convincing themselves that you are arrogant, judgmental, or difficult to be around. They will attribute to you traits that do not belong to you, not because they have any real evidence, but because they need an explanation for their own internal unrest. Others will test you, not because they seek truth, but because they hope to see you stumble. They will challenge your beliefs, not to understand them, but to find a flaw, a contradiction, something they can use to validate their own rejection of what you stand for. Their hostility is not a reaction to you as an individual, but to the unseen forces at work within you. Then there are those who will try to diminish your influence in subtle ways. They will speak of you in dismissive tones, roll their eyes when you share wisdom, or pretend not to hear when you speak. Their goal is not to confront you openly, but to make you doubt yourself, to shrink you down until you begin questioning your purpose. One of the greatest traps set by this kind of opposition is the temptation to prove yourself. You may feel the urge to explain, to defend, to make them see that you are not who they assume you to be. But this is a battle that cannot be won through argument. Their hostility is not built on reason, it is built on reaction. And reaction does not yield to logic, it yields only to transformation. The most unsettling truth about hostility without cause is that it is not personal, yet it is entirely directed at you. Those who resent you do not always understand why. They may even believe themselves justified in their actions, unaware of the deeper forces influencing their perceptions. They are not fighting you. They are fighting the conviction that your presence stirs within them. It is difficult to accept that some people will oppose you simply because you exist as you are. It is even harder to resist the urge to make peace where peace is impossible. But there are moments when understanding the nature of the battle is the only peace you will find. Not everyone will see clearly, and not everyone will choose to embrace the truth when confronted with it. This is why the chosen one must learn to expect hostility without cause. It is not a sign of their failure, but a mark of their presence. The world does not react violently to what is powerless. Resistance only arises where there is something to resist. The hostility you face is not because you are wrong, but because you are right in a way that unsettles the comfortable and awakens the sleeping. One of the most insidious ways opposition manifests against the chosen ones is through projection. People who carry hidden guilt, unresolved wounds, or secret faults will often attempt to transfer those burdens onto others. Rather than face their own shortcomings, they will assign them to you, painting you as the very thing they are trying to avoid confronting within themselves. This is why you will often be accused of things you have never done, of traits you do not possess, and of intentions you never held. It is a strange phenomenon to witness how people will so confidently declare what is inside your heart, while remaining blind to what is inside their own. They will call you prideful when they themselves are unwilling to admit fault. They will call you judgmental when it is they who measure and condemn. They will say you think you are better than others when, in reality, they are unsettled by their own insecurities. Projection is not based on truth. It is based on self-preservation. Those who accuse without reason do so because acknowledging reality would require them to change, and change is difficult. It is easier to point outward than to look inward. It is easier to make someone else the villain than to accept one's own flaws. The chosen one, by simply existing in truth, disrupts this fragile system of avoidance, forcing people to either change or attack. Most choose to attack. False accusations are not always dramatic. A person may spread a rumor not because they truly believe it, but because it serves their need to justify their feelings toward you. They cannot admit that their resentment is baseless, so they create a reason convincing themselves that you must be what they claim you to be. There will be times when you are accused of having ulterior motives, when all you have done is walk in sincerity. People who operate with hidden agendas cannot comprehend that others do not do the same. They assume that since they move with manipulation, you must as well. Their own dishonesty convinces them that honesty does not exist, and so they twist your actions into something they can understand, something impure, something self-serving. The danger of false accusations is not merely in how others perceive you, but in how you begin to perceive yourself. If enough people say you are arrogant, you may start to wonder if you are. If enough people claim you are acting superior, you may feel the need to shrink yourself to avoid further accusations. But this is the trap. The enemy's goal is not just to damage your reputation, it is to make you doubt your own nature, to make you silence yourself, hold back, and walk with uncertainty where you once walked with confidence. A chosen one must understand that false accusations are inevitable. The moment you step into your purpose, the moment you begin to walk in truth, opposition will rise against you. And more often than not, it will not come in the form of direct attacks, but in subtle distortions of your character. The enemy knows that the most effective way to weaken a person of truth is to make them feel like a fraud. One of the most important lessons in facing projection is learning not to take it personally. The people who accuse you are not speaking about you. They are revealing themselves. Their words are windows into their own fears, their own wounds, their own unwillingness to change. They see in you what they refuse to see in themselves, and rather than confront it, they fight against it. It is also crucial to resist the urge to defend yourself at every turn. Some accusations do not deserve a response. Some battles are won by standing firm and allowing time to reveal the truth. The need to justify yourself can become a distraction, pulling you away from your purpose and into an endless cycle of proving, explaining, and trying to be understood by those who have already decided not to understand. There is great power in silent endurance. The chosen one does not need to plead their innocence to those who are determined to see them as guilty. Time has a way of exposing falsehood. Truth, when unshaken, outlasts every lie. Those who accuse unjustly will eventually reveal themselves through the contradictions in their own lives. A chosen one must walk with the understanding that they will be misunderstood, misrepresented, and falsely blamed. But none of these things have the power to change the truth. The accusations of others do not define you. Your integrity, your actions, and the presence of light within you are what define you. And no amount of projection can alter that reality. When you begin to walk in purpose, when you commit yourself to truth, you will notice a strange pattern. Opposition does not always come in the form of direct attacks. More often, it arrives as distraction, not an obvious assault, but a subtle redirection, designed to pull you away from your path without you even realizing it. Distraction is one of the enemy's greatest weapons because it does not require force. It only requires your attention. The goal is not necessarily to destroy you, but to keep you occupied chasing arguments, defending yourself against false accusations, engaging in conflicts that do not serve your growth. A chosen one is never taken down by external pressure alone, but by the energy they waste on things that do not matter. One of the most common distractions comes in the form of unnecessary conflict. People will provoke you without cause, challenge your character, or twist your words to pull you into meaningless debates. They do not seek truth, they seek reaction. If they can lure you into proving yourself over and over again, they have already won, not by defeating you, but by exhausting you. The more you engage in their distractions, the less energy you have for your true purpose. There will also be distractions in the form of emotional entanglements. People will enter your life appearing as friends, mentors, or even romantic interests, only to pull you away from your focus. Some will drain you with endless drama, constantly in need of your attention, always creating problems that demand your emotional energy. Others will flatter you, offering support and admiration, only to later manipulate that closeness into control. The enemy does not always attack by opposition. Sometimes it attacks by attachment. Another form of distraction is self-doubt. The enemy will plant seeds of uncertainty, making you question your abilities, your calling, and your worth. These doubts often come through the voices of others, people who tell you that you are too ambitious, too different, too intense. They will suggest that you should tone it down, be more realistic, or stop taking things so seriously. Their words are not merely opinions. They are carefully placed obstacles meant to make you hesitate, to slow you down, to make you second-guess the very path you were meant to walk. Busyness is another subtle distraction. The chosen one is often burdened with responsibilities, opportunities, and demands that seem important, but ultimately serve to keep them occupied rather than effective. Not every good opportunity is a divine assignment. Some things appear worthwhile but are nothing more than detours disguised as duty. If the enemy can't stop you, it will try to overload you, burying your true calling under an avalanche of tasks that drain your time and energy. Another tactic of distraction is offense. The enemy will use people to insult you, belittle you, or attempt to wound your pride. If you are not careful, you will spend days, weeks, or even years carrying offenses that were meant to derail you. Holding on to grudges, replaying past hurts in your mind, and feeling the need to prove yourself are all distractions that keep you from moving forward. The moment you take offense, you are hooked. The moment you focus on revenge, on proving someone wrong, you are no longer walking in purpose, you are walking in reaction. Fear is also a powerful distraction. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of stepping fully into who you were meant to be. Many chosen ones are not defeated by external enemies, but by the fears they allow to live inside them. Fear causes hesitation. Hesitation leads to inaction, and inaction results in lost potential. The enemy does not always have to attack you directly if it can make you afraid to act. It has already won. A chosen one must recognize these tactics for what they are, strategic attempts to pull them off course. Every time you are tempted to react, to engage in a meaningless battle, to carry unnecessary burdens, you must ask yourself, does this serve my purpose, or is this a distraction? The enemy does not need to destroy a chosen one. It only needs to keep them distracted long enough that they never fulfill their true potential. The greatest battles are not always fought with swords, but with focus. Where your attention goes, your energy follows. And if your energy is spent in the wrong places, your purpose will always remain just out of reach.